I want to show you this headline I saw on a local news channel's website. And tell me what you think about this. FFRF, Freedom from Religion Foundation, sends 3 letters to Rusk Independent School District in Texas to stop student-led prayers. I saw that and I was like, wait a minute. I know the Freedom from Religion Foundation, and that doesn't sound like something they do. Why would they stop student led prayers? Because the church state separation argument forever has been we don't want teachers praying in the classroom. We don't want coaches coercing students to pray. But if students want to pray on their own, if students want to gather in a group and pray together, that's fine. They have the right to do that. So I was surprised. Why would FFRF be trying to stop student led prayer? And when I read the article, I didn't really get many answers. Let me show you some more. Like, again, this is the beginning of the article, and this is what the televised segment also said. Over the past 7 months, FFRF sent 3 letters to Rusk ISD asking the district to stop their student-led prayers before football games, claiming they're unconstitutional. And later on, they even quoted a lawyer from FFRF, or a legal fellow, Sammy Lawrence. It violates the First Amendment. Even if a student is the one delivering the prayer, it still violates the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment. And like, I'm not a lawyer, but if a student is praying before a football game, I don't know why that's unconstitutional. So I read through that article many, many times, and I'm like, what is it that they're actually fighting against? Because when I read the article, when I watched the segment on YouTube, I'm like, I'm not getting an answer here. No one is telling me what they're mad about or what the student did, because that would give me a better idea of what's going on. And on top of that, the superintendent of the district had also issued some sort of response that was very Trumpy. And this is what this guy said as well. Superintendent Gray Burton recently posted to his personal Facebook page addressing the foundation's request. The post read, "If we want America to be great again, then we can't let groups or individuals continue removing God and Jesus from the fabric of our society." And I rolled my eyes, but again, listen, if atheists are overreaching, then it's not a good look for us. So this is where I was when I read that article. So I reached out to FFRF and I'm like, what the hell's going on? What are you people doing here? And then they shared with me the letters they had sent to the school district. And then I read the letters. And then I realized, oh, I figured out what was actually happening. The news reporter who published that article and whoever wrote the headline, they just weren't telling anybody the actual story. Like in their effort to make the headline clickbaity, they just totally ignored the substance of what was going on here. So I'm going to share with you the actual substance of what is happening, okay? So let's talk about letter number 1, okay? Letter number 1, here's what happened. Last December, FFRF sent a letter to the district because they learned that a student had delivered a prayer, yes. It was over the loudspeaker before the homecoming game began. And I just want to show you this. This is the letter FFRF sent. Look at the date, December of 2023. This is their legal fellow, Sammy Lawrence. And she actually has a copy, the transcript rather, of what the prayer over the loudspeaker said. And like, I'm not going to read all this, but just glance. It's Lord, Lord, God, God, God. Like, it is very clearly a religious prayer. You hear this in church. You're not supposed to say this over a loudspeaker, right? I looked for the video, by the way. I did not find video of this game or this prayer, but this is what it said. And this was interesting, too. We just ask you to touch in our community. Touch Texas right now. If we ever need you, God, we need you right now. America needs you. We need you, God. You see all the war that's going on. We just ask you to have your way in protection right now, God. Have your way right now in Jesus' name. Yeesh, that's creepy. You see the football prayers right now? We ask you to touch each and every one of them. God, I rebuke the devil right now. God, we just ask you to touch the cheerleaders. Please don't. Touch the band students. Well, all right, they don't get much. Touch the drill team right now. Have your way, God. Have your way, God. And we say yes to your will, God. Yes to your way. I don't know why I'm reading this. It just makes me laugh. But also, it's totally inappropriate. This is not what you, I mean, again, if a student did this by themselves before a game, who cares? If the football team, the members of the team decided to do this in a huddle before the game, it doesn't matter. It's fine. Be weird. It's not a big deal. But when the school says, all right, kid, you can use a loudspeaker and broadcast this to the entire stadium, now it's school sanctioned prayer. That's the problem. That's why FFRF wrote about it, and they were right to call it out because that's illegal. Like, right? Obviously, that's illegal. It was not a private Christian prayer. This was a school sanctioned prayer. Okay. So in this letter, it actually says, look at this. They actually cited a Supreme Court decision. Like the prayer practices in Santa Fe, the prayers delivered at the Rusk High School football games are inappropriate and unconstitutional. Not only is the school, and thus the district, showing favoritism towards religion and coercing participation in these prayers by holding them during school-sponsored events, but it is also providing the prayer giver with the PA system needed to impose these prayers on attendees. Yeah, like if a kid said, hey, I'm a Satanist, I want access to the loudspeaker because I want to send some kind words about Satan to look over our team and touch the cheerleaders, they would not give that student access. So obviously, religious favoritism, it's unconstitutional. Sammy was right in telling them all this. And now if the district's defense was, well, they let that football coach in Bremerton do it. He prayed at midfield after games. But guess what? Even the Supreme Court, in that horrible opinion, pretended that that guy was praying privately after games. And so this is not an apples to apples comparison because they're now using the loudspeakers, right? Those prayers that Joe Kennedy did, they were not publicly broadcast or recited to a captive audience. So sensible demand. And you know what the district did when they received that letter? Nothing. They did not respond to it at all, pretended it never happened. So then things got worse. And this was not in the news article, but I found this out this week as well. It turns out in April of this year, the Rusk Independent School District posted an image on Facebook where they were basically saying, hey, if you're looking for a job, we are hiring. And there's nothing wrong with that. School districts do that all the time. Let me show you the ad they posted and tell me what you think about this. Rusk ISD, where you have big school opportunities, but small school feel. And whatever, all of this, just glance through it. It looks fine. If you want to be a teacher, you want to work there, administrative side, whatever, it's all good. They're saying we have good incentives, competitive salaries, all of that's fine until you get to the very, very last part here. Look at what they're advertising. Strong Christian faith-based community / traditional values. The grammar is off there. I'm not sure why there's a hyphen there. Strong Christian faith-based community traditional values. Is that how you read that? Maybe that's how you read that. What is that supposed to mean? Why is that an incentive for someone to apply for a job there? Does that mean if you're not Christian, we don't want you? Muslims need not apply. Atheists need not apply. Is that what that means? If they are saying we have Christian values, well, what are Christian values? Does it mean you're bigots toward LGBTQ students? Because I'll be honest, I've lived in the US for years now. I don't know what Christian values mean because only time we ever see Christian values mentioned, it's usually someone like J.D. Vance saying how he wants to control women. So none of this is helpful. Like, what are they trying to do with this ad? I have no clue. So guess what FFRF did? They sent another letter. And look at the date on this one. This is April 25th, after that was posted. And this time, here's what they said in this letter. We write to request that the district cease illegally seeking out and favoring Christian job applicants in violation of both the Constitution and the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Yeah. And look down here as well. When a public school district specifically seeks out and preferences job candidates who are Christian, it displays blatant favoritism toward religion over non-religion and Christianity above all other faiths. It is squarely unconstitutional for a public school to prefer applicants of a particular religion. Yeah, absolutely. Sammy is right again. So guess what happened after FFRF sent that letter in April? Nothing. Did not get a response at all. So we still have a problem. And like the school district's just acting like they can't hear anything. Okay. And then we get to June. So now it's graduation. And I'm going to play a clip for you here because here's the deal. I guess the top 5 members academically of the graduating class, they all get special roles at graduation. Maybe they give a speech, something like that. Well, if you're ranked number 5, apparently your job is you get to deliver the prayer at graduation. Let me show you that clip right here. It's short, but here you go.
At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce our 5th ranking graduate, Madison Downs, who will deliver our invocation.
Please bow your head and pray with me.
Okay, so then she went on to deliver a standard Christian prayer. Thankfully, she did not say, "Hey, God, please go touch all the cheerleaders," like the football player guy did. But it was still, I'm going to show you FFRF's third letter because they had the prayer. And you could see again, there's a lot of, "Dear Lord, first I want to say thank you, Lord. Thank you for giving us something that makes saying goodbye so hard to do. I pray, Lord, right now, Lord, I pray, I pray, I pray." I don't care. Here's the thing. If they just said, "Hey, this is a student who is very gifted academically. We're just going to give her the stage for 2 minutes and she could say whatever she wants." Wink, wink. And the school did not see her script in advance. She could say this and probably get away with it. But the fact that they said she's going to deliver the invocation, like, this is baked into the graduation. This was supposed to be there the whole time. And again, this is not something I feel they would let some Satanist, atheist, Muslim get away with. So this is why FFRF sent a third letter. And again, they basically said, besides the fact that courts have repeatedly struck down school-sponsored prayers, specifically at graduations, it's also a slap in the face to the non-Christian graduates and their families. I mean, they deserve a celebration free from religious propaganda. And by the way, none of that would change if the students requested that. Like, you don't get to vote on whether we get to violate the Constitution. You know, you don't get to do it just because a majority of people in the community want it. So in the third letter, what did Sammy say in this one? She cited the transcript of the entire thing, and I will show you this letter once again. It's a long one, but they filed an open records request. We want to know all about how this graduation came together, any scripts you got in advance. We want proof that you knew that this was going to be prayer. It makes no difference how many students want prayer or wouldn't be offended by prayer. The courts say you're wrong. Like, all of this is true. It's a lot of legalese. But the point is, the courts are on FFRF's side. Okay? So this time, they sent that letter in June, and this time the superintendent responded. This is Gray Burton. He responded finally to this letter in June, a month ago. And this wasn't made public until recently, but like, he wrote, and he said, "You've asked me for all this stuff this past year. Well, let me start by talking about the graduation. Look at this. Look at look right here. Each student speaker at Rusk High School earned their opportunity to speak. They're not required to speak. They can say no, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. I don't care. Number 5 ranked student delivers the invocation. That's just the way it is. He's admitting they're breaking the law when he says that, because the invocation should not be part of the graduation program. Okay? Then he goes on, because now he's mad. "You have sent letters claiming the district is in violation of the Constitution by allowing a student to offer a prayer at football games. This accusation is false and offensive." That student is some student in a club. He asked if he could pray at our football games. We let him do it. He speaks from his heart in the moment. Allowing a student volunteer to pray is completely within the law when the prayer is not pre-planned. No, it's not. You know how I know that? Because you would never see that happen with a non-Christian student. The only reason they let that kid take over the loudspeaker is because they knew what he was going to say, or they knew the gist of what he was going to say. It was going to be a prayer. I don't care that it wasn't scripted in advance. It was a prayer. Then what about that Facebook post about discriminatory hiring? This accusation is absurd and baseless. Look at this. When they say strong Christian faith-based community, traditional values, this is a description of the community in Rusk, Texas. It is not describing the school district. I could state country music is the music genre of choice in the Rusk community, and that is also a fact. It does not mean country music fans will be the only people considered for employment, which is a BS argument because, one, they didn't say that in the job description. You know why? Because it's irrelevant. But also because we know what they're trying to do when they say Christian values. Like, there is an implication that Christian and traditional, those are synonymous with good. Like, he never explains what values he thinks are Christian values. And then after explaining all that, here's what he says. Okay, I could understand a layperson not knowing the law, but as an attorney, you should. I can assure you that Rusk ISD will continue to allow prayer at our football games, graduation, and any other event we choose that is allowable and in accordance with statute. Like, I've never seen an arsonist get up and say, here's the match I'm using. Like, this guy is admitting to the crimes. I can also assure you, I will not respond to every letter you write out of ignorance that accuses the district of operating outside of the law anytime Christianity or Jesus is mentioned. I have been an educator for approximately 30 years and a Christian for longer. Just because I choose to serve in a rural East Texas town, don't assume I don't know the law or how to operate within its boundaries. So basically, he's blaming FFRF for going after some rural Texas farm boy. Like, don't you... You think I'm too stupid to understand how the law works? And meanwhile, he's like, let me show you how I'm breaking the law. This guy. And guess what? He didn't stop here either. Because just in the past, like, week, let me show you what else this guy did. On Facebook, this is like a week ago. This is what 2 weeks ago. This is what the school district posted on its official Facebook page. Staff returns on August 5th. Students return on August 12th. We're going to give it all we got. Here's 20 days of prayer. Here's who you should be praying for on every day in August and July, apparently. Like, pray for athletic coaches, pray for technology staff, like pray for everybody. Like, now they're just rubbing it in everyone's face. And then the same dude on his personal Facebook page, I don't know the date of when he posted this, but this is why we're finding out about all this now. He has since either deleted this post or made it private because it used to be public. You could see the globe right there. But look at what he says here. I made the he's back to committing arson and holding up the match. I made the decision 3 years ago to allow student-led prayer at our home football game. He's calling it student-led prayers instead of a moment of silence. This change was something our community and school board supported wholeheartedly. Since December, I've received 3 letters from FFRF claiming it was unconstitutional to pray at the games, and they wanted to know how I plan to stop it from occurring in the future. I had several things come to mind that I would like to say to this group, like, I hope you enjoy your permanent vacation at the only place hotter than Texas in August. Hell, he's saying hell, but I decided against it because he's a good old farm boy. I simply told them we would continue to have prayer anytime we want, yada, yada, yada. Earlier today, we posted 20 days of prayer on our district Facebook page, and I expect to receive another letter from this group. Regardless of their continued efforts to keep us from praying, we will not stop. Notice the we. They're trying to keep us from praying. We will not stop. What does that mean? He's saying we, everyone in this school district, is Christian. That's what that implies. That's what the pronoun means. If they studied pronouns, they would know that. We want protection and blessings for our students, staff, and community. We want yada, yada, yada. Why would we turn to anyone but God? If we want America to be great again, we can't let groups or individuals continue removing God and Jesus from the fabric of our society. We are letting these moments of silence become total silence. You know he wants to run for something here. And the results are evident in our country. It's time to bring God back to the White House. Joe Biden is Catholic. The schoolhouse, the courthouse, that's illegal, and our own house. Oh my God, I'm done with this. Bring God back. Hashtag bring God back. Unbelievable. This guy's just confessing to the crime over and over. Like, okay, so he has made it clear he wants to shove Christianity into his school district, and it seems like polite requests by FFRF are not going to change his ways. Now, Texas has a law that allows students to pray at public events, but like even that law comes with limitations. Like you can't limit it to just Christians. The district has to issue a disclaimer that it's not endorsing what's being said. But like even the Texas law doesn't allow what is happening at this school district right now. Christianity is just like given a green light with the explicit support of the district's administrators. And so with that in mind, let me just take you back to the article that started all this, because I'm still mad at the media here. This is what I read. FFRF sends 3 letters to Rusk ISD to stop student-led prayers. No, not even close to what happened. None of this was student-led prayer. It was school-sanctioned Christianity. It is illegal. FFRF politely told them, hey, what you're doing is illegal, so stop it. And the district superintendent's like, how dare you make fun of a rural farm boy? Just because you think I'm dumb doesn't mean I don't know anything. I don't know what we're talking about anymore. Now, the obvious question, what happens now? Well, it's very clear the district is not going to stop doing this stuff. So a lawsuit is within the realm of possibility. FFRF did tell me the only reason they acted on any of this is because someone in the district contacted them about these violations. Like a community member got in touch with them. But someone has to have legal standing to go after the district, and it is asking a lot to ask some member of the community who deserves to remain anonymous, because this isn't about them. It is asking a lot for them to say, I'm going to file a lawsuit, even if it's free with FFRF's help. You're asking them to paint themselves as a target in a rural community in Texas. That is a hard ask. In a place where Christian values are everywhere, that tends to mean death threats against anyone who tries to push the district in a place of to a place of religious neutrality. So I don't know what happens now. I just know these letters aren't doing the trick. The superintendent doesn't care. So we'll see what goes on.